better.
Welcome to the Regina Queen Show. Here with me is Chrishanda Kimbrough. Chrishanda, Chrishanda Kimbrough is here to share her story of what she has encountered in her past years, and that was in domestic violence. Chrishanda Kimbrough is here to empower and encourage whoever are encountering domestic violence to come out before it is too late. Thank you, Chrishanda, for being here with me on the Regina Queen Show. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing well.
That's good. And I'm happy to have you back here again to share part two of your story.
Yes. Thank you very much.
And I really do admire you for being here to be an inspiration on my show for other women who are encountering domestic violence. As we speak today, someone is being killed, someone is being murdered.
Yes.
Someone needs to hear your story. Someone needs to see this number on this screen.
Yes.
That's the domestic violence hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE, 7233. Someone needs to see this number to call to get help.
Hmm.
And it really breaks my heart for victims who feel that they can't come out, victims who are sitting at home going through, encountering depression and anxiety, afraid to speak, at home, beat up, bruised up, black eyes, burnt up. Domestic violence is a horrific crime.
Yeah.
And as we spoke about your story previously of being in domestic violence, you said that you wanted to share your story with intentions on saving a life.
Yes.
And I really truly believe that you're going to save a life.
Thank you. That's my hopes and prayers.
Yes. And everyone, here on the Regina Queen Show, this is a place where we come to share our stories together, to heal, to let out anger, and to share our stories to be an inspiration. Because we are all of us women are all queens, and we strive for greatness. So we lock arms here together to support each other and protect each other from violence, preventive violence. Chrishanda Kimbrough is going to share her story, and I hope she inspired anyone who is encountering domestic violence. Chrishanda Kimbrough, can you give us some uh, your details of the beginning of your relationship?
Okay, so I had met this guy, and I remember like, ooh, when they came and told me like me, red flags. But I was like, ooh, that's so ugly. I won't do, and I like ugly guys. Like, mm-mm. But I just didn't want him. I was like, no, but he was very charming. He was very charming. He was my little cousin's friend. Um, and we ended up just becoming inseparable.
Mm.
And I remember my brother had this girlfriend at the time. And when we stayed next door to each other. So when she seen him at my house, she ended up telling me, oh, he's very controlling. Um, I want to tell you, she told me he was abusive too, but I don't remember if she told me or not. And at that time, I hadn't seen anything. It was all love and laughter and charm and fun. And eventually it came out. Eventually he got mad. And when he got mad, he hit me. So we were fighting because I'm a fighter. I'm from the streets. He from the streets. I'm a fighter. I didn't know that I was being abused. I didn't know that he was starting to be controlling towards me. I just took it as we were two street people. We were in love and we're just angry. We were a lot alike. We're both Aries. So I was like, oh, we're Aries. We're just the same. We're just clashing a little. And I just didn't see it, you know, and it was starting to happen more, but we were fighting. And then eventually we moved about, I say about an hour and 45 minutes away from LA to Lancaster. And that's when it got bad. And I still didn't realize. I remember the first time that he hit me without me fighting back. My children were 1 and 3 when I met him. And so my oldest, my son, he's 3 years old. He would come to our room every 15 minutes and he would bust in and he would say, you know, mommy, daddy, and something about SpongeBob or whatever it is that he had interest in at that particular moment, whatever was on TV. So when he hit me, and I pushed his buttons. I'm not gonna act like I, didn't. I knew he was gonna hit me. He warned me he was, but I didn't know. I didn't see things that way.
Mhm.
I just saw we were arguing. I'm calling out your name. I don't care about nothing you saying. We already been fighting for a while, and he told me he was gonna hit me, but I don't know why it actually surprised me when he did. He socked me right in the face,
Mhm.
and quickly I had to think, if I fight back, my children are going to see this man hit me because it's about time for my son to come through this room. So my options are to fight back or let him hit me these 2 or 3 times and it's over with. So I chose the latter. That was the biggest mistake of my life. Right after he hit me, my son come walking through the room. He looked at me and we instantly went into parent mode and we dealing with the kids and now he's noticed I can hit her and get away with it as long as the kids are home. And I'm a homebody, so I'm mostly at home with the children. So it became this pattern. And it was me thinking, I'm just not going to fight back right now because I don't want my kids to see this man hitting their mother. Um, it got worse. I got put on punishment. I would be locked in a room. I couldn't talk on the phone. I couldn't get on the computer. I couldn't watch TV. He would come disconnect everything, take everything out. He would tell my kids, they would say, Mommy, come watch the movie with us while they're in the living room. And I'd be like, not right now, because I don't want them to know what's going on. And he's like, your mom's been bad. Your mom's a stupid little girl. Mom can't come out. And I'm like, wait, don't talk to my kids like that. So then he comes in the room and now I'm being hit on again. The saddest part, I was 21 years old. I didn't know that I was a domestic violence victim. I didn't know that I was being abused. I still didn't know. Like, I just thought, like, we fight and I'm protecting my children from them seeing this. I don't want them to see it until one day he slapped me. And I always say it's like he literally slapped some sense into me because I remember getting slapped so hard. And I was like, this is domestic violence. I'm a victim. And he was like, what the fuck did you just say? And I said, you're abusing me. I was about 22, 23 by that point when I realized that all this time I've been abused. I've been abused. And it's sad because why did it take me so long? I didn't know until 28 that that wasn't love. Um, I remember my little cousin telling me a man don't love you if he don't hit you. And she was my little shadow. I'm 5 years older than her. And she got this boyfriend that was hitting her. And this is before I turned 28, but I was smart enough to tell her, hey, that's not love. But I wasn't smart enough to understand and recognize in my own situation that that's not love. I just knew I wanted to protect her. I don't know if I was being naive. I don't know if I was just stupid or if I was in denial. I don't know what it was. However, I know that when my cousin got that boyfriend, I was ready to kill that man. Put your hands on my baby. Put your hands on my baby. And she ended up telling me, like, if a man don't hit you, he don't love you. And I remember telling her, like, that's not love. And she was like, well, you're letting so and so do this and that to you. And I'm like, no. This was the first time I think that I had said out loud, like, every time I tried to leave him, he tried to kill me.
Mm.
I've been choked out on the streets with water bugs, and I'm petrified of bugs. The water bugs, big old things, crawling on the side of my face, like not on my face, but on the ground. And he's sitting, he's choking me out. And what he used to say saved my life was because my daughter was a daddy's girl to him, to her daddy whenever she saw him, but to him because he had a daughter, he couldn't be around. So my baby was just daddy's girl. So he says that's what saved my life is that he would see my daughter's face in mine, and that's when he would let me go. And I remember like getting ready to pass out. I just felt myself going. I used to try to fight to break away until I decided that I'd rather be dead than to be with you. This isn't living. I'm existing. So I
Yeah.
started telling him why he's choking me out. I'd rather be dead. Just kill me. And I guess his way to make me suffer was to stop choking me and let me live this horrible life with him. He's tried to run a car into people's houses. When I tried to break up with him, him and his cousins has kidnapped me, like chased me, snatched me, throw me in a car. Um, I just was stuck with him. And then he became my project. I have to show him what love is. I have to teach him love. His mom used to tell me, you still with that loser? Drop that zero and go get a hero, baby. And cried to
Mm.
his mom, like, I have to teach him love. I have to show him what love is. She said, you're what's best for him. He's not what's best for you. I
That's
want him with you. I don't want you with him. You need to leave him. I cannot wait for you to grow up and outgrow him. My family used to tell me, you need to listen to that man, mama. But I couldn't get away. Now, he went to jail every year, and every year I got a new boyfriend. And then that letter come. Get rid of whoever you're dealing with. Because I disappeared once he went to jail. So it was get rid of whoever you with because I'm going to kill you and him. I know he's going to. I know what kind of man I'm dealing with. He
mm-hmm.
wasn't one of those. Now, in my eyes, he's a coward for the things he did to me and the other women. Um, but he's not one of those cowards that'll hit a woman but won't hit a man. He'll do
Mm.
this to a woman and won't do it to a man. He's
Mm.
one of those anything, anybody, everybody gonna get these hands but them kids.
Yes, I
So
know them kind.
yeah. So I knew somebody else's life was in danger too. Now he had always told me like, you cheat on me, I'm gonna kill the dude, and I'm like, well, kill him. I'm gonna just get an ex. Kill him. I'm gonna just get an ex. But I would never put nobody in danger. So I would get rid of the guy, and now I'm stuck again. I'm trapped again. I thought I was in love, but I knew I wanted to get away. And then I realized how to get away. He has to leave me. I have to be um, non-compliant, combative. I have to get it to a point where he's tired.
Mm.
And I got us to that point, and he left. But when he left, it was 6 months after my daughter's father passed. I had abandonment issues. So I couldn't handle the breakup. I didn't want him back, but I couldn't handle it because now I'm suffering from severe abandonment issues now. But he stayed gone. But it still was coming to my house wanting to argue, wanting to fight. It was a lot. But I got away and I never went back. I never went back. He raped me. He's tortured me. He's locked me out the house and ripped my dress off, have me sitting there naked, pouring water on my head through the window. And I can't go walk around because I'm now naked. Slapped me across the face with a blade of a knife. beat me with the kids' toys, pick up anything he can, put a hot iron to my face. Those years were hell.
Mm.
The number one thing I want women to know is that it's not love. No, they don't love us in their own little way. That's not love.
Yeah.
That's being possessive. We're their property. Um,
Chrishanda, can you share with us how many years you encountered this abuse from him?
8 years from 21 to 29.
21 years?
No, 8 years from the ages of 21 to the age 29.
Oh, okay. So 8 years from the age of 21 to 29.
Yes.
Okay, in the midst of the 8 years, when did you realize this is a domestic violence relationship? This is not love, this is abuse.
I
What
realized it
signs,
was a domestic violence relationship.
what signs did you see too?
I didn't realize it was domestic violence until like a year or two later when I was 22, 23. So I went a year or two of fighting with him, not knowing that I was in a domestic violence relationship. Um, I mean, the biggest sign was when my brother X had told me he was abusive and controlling. Well, I can't remember if she actually said abusive, but basically she did. Um, right before he hit me, we had never argued. It was basically too good to be true, but he was a street dude. Um, I remember finding out I wasn't the only woman. I remember finding out he had a fiance. When we first got together, I
It's
said,
always it's always another one involved.
yes. And I didn't I asked him, I'm very open honest, right? If I got a boyfriend and I'm coming to talk to you, I'm gonna tell you like, yo, I got a boyfriend, but hey, I'm not faithful over there. What's up with this? I'm very honest. I expect people to be honest. This is me. I asked him, did he have a boyfriend? I mean, a girlfriend. I asked him, did he have a girlfriend? Well, nowadays you gotta ask if he got a boyfriend. But I asked him, did he have a girlfriend? And he told me no. He said, I have a baby mother's that I wouldn't fuck with your brother's dick. Those were his exact words to me.
Hmm.
So I said, okay. Actually, the brother girlfriend was like, oh, his fiance, I love her. And I was like, fiance? He doesn't have anyone. She just looked at me. Basically, she was on some let me get back in my lane and mind my business because she knew what kind of man he was. She knew that if he knew that she told me that he was going to beat on her, but it would have ended up with him and my brother trying to kill each other.
Mm.
So she got in her lane, and I didn't say anything, and I was just like, me and my brother were next door neighbors, and we was in my brother's house when she told me, and my brother and him was at my house. So when I went to him and I asked him, and I was just like, hey, I put my leg over across the window where he couldn't get up. Like I said, he wasn't abusive yet or anything. I didn't know anything yet. And when I finally asked him, first he denied. So then I waited a couple of weeks and I asked again. And he was like, yeah, I have a fiance. You want to meet her? Do I want to meet her?
So he had the audacity to ask you if you wanted to meet the fiance.
Yeah. And I met her.
Don't it just get better and better in time?
Man, listen, I'm young and wild. Think I'm like this little down chick. But I must not leave out. I had a fiance in prison, which was my daughter's father.
Hmm.
And I was married.
Okay.
And I was married. So, I just was wrong all the way around.
Okay.
I was wrong. But I was trying to leave. I left my husband. I did leave my husband. And I was leaving my fiance. He was in jail. He was in prison. I was leaving him because I had already like went to jail behind him. We kind of was like sneaking being back together. And I just didn't want that. So I was leaving. And so he had the opportunity to tell me the truth because I had told the truth. And when he was like, "Oh, you want to meet her?" I was like, "What?" I went off. Then I was like, you know what? Yep. What it was he needed a ride. He needed me to pick her up to drop them off. So I picked her up, put her in the back seat, and I played all little love and sex songs so she could see that that's my man, and he leaned over there towards me and I'm linked. And I was playing them games. I was young, wild, and I just didn't care.
And,
But
then- and when you're young, sometimes we just don't know any better.
yeah,
So
yeah. And I
learn
had my own
go,
situation.
go through.
So
Yeah.
I didn't care about theirs. You know what I mean? And that was wrong. Baby, if a man to do all that with you, one, he'll do it to you. But the number one thing is that's the hugest red flag right there. Some things ain't right.
Right.
Because what I found out later on, she was scared to say something. If I knew, I'd have left him with her. I should have left him with her. Okay. No wonder she gave up so easy when she really, really found out about me. I
Right.
should have packed my stuff and ran.
Yes.
I should have ran. I should have got on a jet. Okay.
Yeah.
And I thought I did something.
Then there comes the time, women, you just get back into the corner, and then there comes a time where you just, it's either fight or flight.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
See, I freed her and incarcerated myself. I thought I did something like, yeah, I took him in 2 months and that's my man and da 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 and Lord, I did that woman a favor. She ran fast. That was a red flag right there. She
Yeah.
ran fast. That was probably one of the biggest red flags.
Yes.
And we end up fighting. Like I said, we were fighting at first, and it became this cycle of abuse. But in my mind, I didn't know I was being abused. It was, I don't want my kids to see this, so I'm just not fighting today. But today turned into every day.
Mm.
Until he gave me that one good slap. Your mom tell you I smacked some sense into you. I didn't know that was a real thing until that man smacked me so hard that I knew that I was a victim of domestic violence. That's when I found out. But because he already, see, my brother already went to prison. My uncle already went to prison. So as far as he was concerned, I didn't have no protectors. He had no one to fear. I'm not the kind of woman that would have called the police. See, that's big. We need to stop being like that. But I was in them streets. I was gangbanging. I'm not calling the police.
Right.
So he took advantage of that. He took advantage of, I'm not about to go get my brothers and homeboys and family and to come and be a part of this situation either.
Yes.
I learned at the age of about 18, 19 years old. My first husband had went to prison, and I was really close with my mother-in-law at the time, and she told me a story about how, I don't know if it was her niece and nephew, but I know it was my first husband's cousins. The girl was in a domestic violence relationship,
Mm.
and she called her brother to come over. So brother comes, brother gets to the front door, brother get murdered. He gets blown away. That I don't remember why she told me the story. I think she probably was just talking, just talking to me, telling me family stuff, and just talking to me.
But her brother came to the front door.
The girl's brother. So my first husband's cousin, Johnny, my first husband's cousin,
Hmm.
she was being abused. The sister was being abused, and she called her brother to come to the house. And when the brother came to the house, the brother didn't know that she was being abused that day. Then he just thought he was picking his sister up. And the boyfriend blew the brother brains out at the front door. The brother just, he walked into it and got murdered.
Yeah.
That remained with me for the rest of my life. I would not call
Chrishanda,
anybody.
did you see that? I mean, was you saw when it happened, like for it to
I
make
wasn't
you to
I
make you want to come out of the domestic violence relationship?
what made me want to come out, I had always wanted to come out.
After, okay.
I had always wanted to come out, but I was stuck. I never called anybody. because of that story.
Mm-hmm.
That what they say that stained my brain. That
Yes, it will.
I
Yeah,
never wanted to put anybody in that situation. That
exactly.
woman, and I'm not saying she was wrong for telling me the story, but it petrified me. It doesn't necessarily mean that would have been my story, but that's a lot of people's stories.
And see,
A
this is
lot
the
of women call people into a situation and
right,
they don't know what situation they're coming into,
right,
and these people get killed.
right.
A
And
lot of women won't leave,
this is
and it
why
gets
this is the reason why victims of domestic violence do not like to involve
other people.
friends and loved ones because
Yes.
they're coming into it is a dangerous situation.
Mhm.
It really is a dangerous situation. And that backs the victim up in the corner as well from reaching out to get help because we feel um, victims feel, and I say we feel because I was a victim of domestic
Mhm.
violence, but I'm a victor now, and we feel that you feel embarrassed, you feel ashamed, because
Mhm.
sometimes we have told our family, friends, and loved ones, "Oh, I'm not going to be in this relationship anymore. I'm choosing to get out." And next thing you know, we write back because we
Right.
cling to that abuser, and
Mhm.
we feel like that abuser have more higher power than
Mhm.
everyone in the entire world. It's
Mhm.
like he's a god, and that's just from the abuse, the mind manipulation that they put us through, the sabotage, you know,
Mhm.
it's just a manipulation. They make us feel like we're nothing, we have no self esteem. And so we're not going to reach out because we're ashamed, we're embarrassed,
Right.
We have a black eye today, and the right eye is a black eye, the left eye is a black eye.
Mhm.
We don't want to be seen again because we have promised loved ones, that we're coming out. So, some just don't come out, some just stay there and be murdered and be killed.
Right. And
So,
and see, I didn't know anything about escape plans. I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know anything about there were specific shelters that helps you. Um I and then I had this thing, a lot of black women, especially young black women, I'm gonna say, don't want to go to a shelter. We don't want to be seen as a person in a shelter. That was one of my things is a shelter. No, I'm not putting my kids in that environment. I'm not gonna. I don't want people to know I'm in a shelter. I was afraid of that. It wasn't until I think 24 that I really learned that domestic violence shelters were a thing, that escape routes are a thing, because I went to school to be an alcohol and drug counselor. And when I went to school to be an alcohol and drug counselor, I was pregnant with mine and his child, and which is my youngest son who's 14. And that's when I started learning like these resources and these things to for me to tell my clients if they bring this up or bring that up. And I'm like, all these years
mm,
I could have reached out, I could have got help. Um, I hid it. My immediate family knew what was happening. My brothers were young, and once my brothers turned about 15, we big. I'm 6'1". I think I got one brother that might be my height or shorter, and my
mm,
mom had what, 6 kids. And I'm the oldest. When them boys and boys was towering over me, and I'm taller than him, they
mm,
come running after him. And I was like, oh, I could have called my cousin, but I don't believe in, doing that. So that's when I finally started having some type of protection where he slowed down some.
mm,
But them big boys that came chasing after him, I'm 10 years older than them, so I've been out the house, I don't live near them. So it still was like this cycle. So he kind of knew when he could and when he couldn't. When I turned 28 years old is when I found out he's not all what he say he is. He's scared of somebody. because he told his brother, if this big old guy come and he beat the shit out of me, don't try to help me. He said, just watch it. He said, because I should have never put my hands on that man's daughter. See, because now we live in a hood now. We live in Los Angeles now. Everybody right here now. My face is red. I can't hide it anymore. They all right here. So, and I said, ain't this something? I could have been got help. See, we trapped. We trapped
Yes.
in this mentality that we can't get help. We trapped in this mentality that, as I stated earlier, you don't want to call nobody in because you don't want nobody to get murdered.
Yes.
You don't want to do all of that.
You
But
want to
then you
protect
have those
us.
family members who tell you just work it out. Because I have an uncle who was like, well, he didn't know how bad it was. But my uncle was like, hey, you guys work this out. You guys have a family. You've been together all these years. And I'm just sitting there like, I need help. I want out. This is not love. And one day that man was in the kitchen and he was cooking and I came to take over because I think he was just probably staring something for no, he was cooking something for me to show me he could cook. And I
Mm-hmm.
came to take over because he had needed to go do something with the kids. And I don't remember what he said, but I remember looking at him. And by this point, I'm a church going woman. I was a Sunday school teacher. I'm more enlightened. I'm older now. And I remember looking at him and he had just this evil look. And I was like, and I told him, I said, you're the devil. You are the devil. He had a 2x4 with some nails sticking out, the sharp part of the nails. And he tried to whack me in my face with it while I was holding our I think probably was 4 year old son at the time. His brother was living with me and I was screaming for help. And his sister-in-law tried to come help me, but the brother stopped her and was holding her. She had to break free from the brother to come and help me because he was about to them nails was about to be in my face while I was holding
Whoa.
our child.
Whoa.
She came and stopped it, and then his brother came because his brother didn't want him to hit his woman. Then his brother came, and then he left out the house. But see, by that point, I had already had a hot iron put to my face. I tried to leave him before after hitting me, and he was saying how it was nothing. Nobody would ever want me, and I'm like, this is my house, my car, my money, my everything. I'm nothing. I'm the provider. And but I didn't say nothing. I just was packing and stuff. He's on my cell phone because he didn't have one. He grabs my keys to my car. He grabs my money. And you're telling the man that I'm nothing and nobody will ever want me. But see, I believed him because I was younger when that happened. I believed him. And I watched him plug the iron up. Now I'm thinking he's ironing his clothes. Put the water in there, steam it, and put it to my face. So now my options are stand my ground and have a disfigured face.
Wait, hold that thought. Hold that thought, Chrishanda. Can you repeat that part one more time of what he did with the weapon?
He plugged the iron up. He let it get hot. He poured water in the iron. And he started pushing the button, making the steam come out the iron.
Planning.
And I'm sitting there watching him packing his clothes, crying because he said all these bad things. He just beat me, and I'm tired. I have the strength to walk away now. Cause see, I already figured out that I'm being abused. I just sat there and watched him do all of that. I watched him because I didn't know what was about to happen to me, and he put it to my face. And I hurried up and unpacked everything. And I had to put the dirty clothes back with the clothes back in the drawer, hang them back up. My options were be disfigured and stand my ground and still don't win because he's still not going to leave, or live with it so my kids can have a mother. And I lived with it. I lived with the abuse so my kids can have a mother until I realized I decided that I don't want to live anymore. I'd rather be dead than to be with you. And I told him that every chance that I got. I went through it. I silently went through it. There were times where he abused me, beat me, and then called my mother and told my mother that I was tripping, I was being erratic, and that she needed to come get my children because I cannot be trusted. And it was him in the house beating on me
Yeah.
just to
That's
make me
that's what
suffer.
they do. That's what they do. They flip the script.
Yes,
They pretend that they are the ones who are bleeding.
yes.
They're the
I,
victim.
I I watched him cry. I remember he cried. I play head games. So once I realized I was being abused, when I first realized it, I put my head down and I walked around. I went in the kitchen. I cooked him a T-bone steak and some eggs. I played, it was Monica had a song and Missy Elliott had a song. One of their songs was You Deserve. And that song You Deserve, it was saying if you're putting up with it, then you deserve it. You deserve what's happening to you because you're allowing it to. And
Do you
I
believe that?
played, huh?
Do you believe that?
No, it was a song. The song was her, I think, like trying to get her friend to come out of it,
Mm,
you know. And so, but I played it because those were two guilt songs.
mm.
So I played the two songs on repeat, super loud, and I'll just walk like this. And I hand him his food, and he just start crying. I beat you. I love you. I beat my woman. I hurt you. And I felt like he loves me. He's so sorry. He's so sincere. A couple of days later, he was beating on me again. He didn't care. I played mind games, and so did he. So we were sitting there playing mind games with each other. But I didn't know how to break free. At that time, he kept threatening to rape me until he actually did when I was pregnant with our child. Until he actually did. But when I got free, I got free. And when I got free, he could never put his hands on me again. And he's tried. He tried. His mother told me when we first split up that he's angry with me and he keeps coming to my house trying to fight me because he can no longer control me.
Mm.
That loss of, and we had a kid together, and he had raised my oldest two from 1 and 3 years old. So to us, those was all three of his children. And I felt stuck and I felt trapped. Like, why am I going through this? And then I learned that, hey, it's okay what you went through because you went through it as your life. You take it and you help another woman. Don't be ashamed. Understand that it's not love, no matter how much he tell you it is, no matter how many times he try to come back, it's not love. See, I would never go back. My last husband used to say, you love him. You trying to be with him. I would never go back. I would never do that to myself again. Ever. Would I be his friend? We have children. I do my best to co-parent. He's picked up a cup. He picked up a mug. He's picked up a mug like this, but I think it was thicker, saying he was going to hit me with it. So I picked up something. Try it. I'm not your woman anymore. I'm not a kid anymore. It's what's that one movie where the couple was beating each other through the whole movie until they killed each other. They was swinging on the chandeliers and all that. Not the
Oh,
Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It was another movie, an old school movie. Whatever it is, I remembered the movie back then, and I told him that's gonna be us because I would never again. I've learned from this, and I'm gonna help other women. And the most important thing I want to help women know is it's not love.
so at that point, that was when you had decided to start coming out. You realized you had to come out. You realized I'm a victim of domestic violence
Yes.
at that
I
point.
already told my story to certain little people. See, I had got into, not only was I teaching Sunday school at one point, I was learning to preach. To be not learning to preach, I was in training to become a pastor at one point. Um, I taught Bible study.
In the midst of that relationship?
Yes, he was in prison at that time.
Okay.
He had did like, I think like 2.5 years in prison at that time. So at that time, I had started doing those things. When I started doing those things, I was on the run. So I ended up going to prison. Excuse me, from a case from when I was 19, 20 years old. I ended up going to prison. And in prison is when I really learned to start speaking. In prison, I ran into these older women. And older women, they thought I was crazy. They thought I was rapping. I had wrote this song for my father. So when I was in prison, I'll sit to myself and I'll rap my song when I was doing laundry. So the women just see my mouth moving and they think that I'm talking to myself. One day they said something about the Bible and they had said it incorrectly. I was 26 years old. When they said it incorrectly, I just heard God tell me to speak up because I'm afraid of public speaking. And so they was like, "What you say, baby?" So when I told them, they was like, "Come here, come over here with us." And when I went over there, and I'm talking to them, and that's when they told me they thought I was crazy. Whatever, we had a nice little laugh. And it's, "How old are you?" 26. So they were amazed that I was so young and I knew the word the way I did. So I started hanging with these women. And as I'm hanging with these two older women, one was white and one was black, we're encountering women who are domestic violence victims, who are homeless. I had experienced homelessness, um, who just went through a variety of different things. And I just so happened to experience a lot of those things that they went through.
Yes.
And that's when I learned God
So,
allowed me to go through certain things. Not He put me through them, but He allowed me to go through them. One, He showed us the flags and we don't leave, right? But He carried me through them because I made
yes.
it. Because at some point I kind of listened to Him or caught it, but He allowed me to go through it to, in essence, I feel, do what I'm doing today, right? Talking
Right.
to women,
Right.
sharing my story. Me
Yes.
telling the details of my story is letting you know, like, hey, you're not alone. And there's women that's been through way worse than I have. There's women that my situation sound like
And
Disneyland to them.
that's what I want to get to, Chrishanda. I want
Hmm.
to I want to get to that part. So you said after you came out of the domestic violence relationship, you went to prison.
No, I was still in it when I went to prison.
Okay. So once you went to prison, did the whole trajectory in your life change? And as you started a new journey, because what I want you to do, and the reason why I asked you this is because there are women who are in prison and who have been to prison after coming out of domestic violence or even being charged for a domestic violence crime. And then I would like for you to go into some detail, letting us women know what life is like being in prison, being a victim of domestic violence in prison, letting us know about the resources because I really truly believe that that is so important to know how women cope in prison after coming out of domestic violence. And I know that you can empower us women about those certain issues as though the time that we have now is kind of like running out.
Hmm.
But I would love for you to come back to share that part. And
Okay.
yes, I really do. Because we can't forget about our sisters of every ethnicity that who are in prisons now today, who had encountered domestic violence and have been charged and are incarcerated. And we just
The,
want women to feel not alone and just to give some just to empower women.
the women in prison, a lot of them are in domestic violence relationships right now in prison.
Right. And see,
Their
they,
spouses in prison are
right,
abusing them.
right. And see, there are some situations that are going on in the prisons that some victims do not know about, and some do know about, and you know they just need to be empowered and to be to come out of whatever they're going through. Because who wants to be in the prison and you're a victim of domestic violence? You're already locked up, and then you're still a victim. But how? What is the strategies that women take to come out of domestic violence as transitioning from prison back into the real world, being released and going into getting services. And I would like for us to share that part of this, your story of the prison, for how it is for the prison reform for women, when we come back on
So
the story of your story, due to the time frame that we're running out.
yeah,
And what I would like for you to do, Chrishanda, right now is, because that is so very important, to know. And we got to show love to all women of every ethnicity. We got to show love to women who are even incarcerated, because I don't want to leave them out. I don't want to have focus on just the women who are out here, women of advocates who has been victims of domestic violence, and now they're advocates, and sometimes people can take the role, but I'm not disrespecting anyone, but sometimes people can take a role as an advocate after coming out of violence, but then the whole trajectory in their life just change, and then they're no longer advocating. Their agenda it's about something else. It's about the fame. It's about the name. It's about the entertainment. But to me, it is not. It will never be, about the fame, entertainment when it comes to being an advocate for the abused, the victims, and
yeah,
it's so important that, and I have some topics like that too, with other people, about us advocates, being the solution to help
yeah.
victims come out. And I really thank you, and I would like to ask you, um, if you wanted to give someone who is encountering domestic violence a message, what message would you give them? And also, vic- victors of domestic violence who has come out, if you can just put it in like a little bungle.
Um, so
And
okay, so for the first part was what changed for me in prison was I had solitude, so I had more time to talk to God. See, I went about things differently than some people. I didn't go to domestic violence classes or anything like that. It was me and God. The deeper I got into God, because I already was a Sunday school teacher, and I was already training to become a pastor when I went to prison.
but see, that's the
My
part
past caught up with me.
yeah,
So,
that's the part
but
that I want you to share in part three of your story.
no, yeah, I am. I was just saying because you had asked me that before we went more into depth
Yeah.
about me coming back. So that part right there. But what really how I helped women in there was just talking to them. I talk to people and I share my story. I'm not afraid to testify. Um, so that's that. Now for the same, I'm gonna tell you the same thing that I told them, and the same thing I had to learn for myself is you have to first love yourself. You cannot love this person more than you love yourself. You cannot. You have to. If you're not loyal to yourself, you cannot be loyal to the next person.
Right. Yep.
So we tend to say, I don't want to leave him because I want to be loyal or this. If you're not loyal to you, I cannot trust you to be loyal to me. So you first you need to love yourself. You need to be loyal to yourself. You need to get away. The first step of being loyal to yourself and loving yourself is getting away. You need to get away. Don't stay for the children, because I learned later on in life that my kids heard the abuse. When I thought they didn't know most of their life, they knew. Um, you you're teaching your son that it's okay to be an abuser. You're teaching your daughter that it's okay to be abused. You turn into a cycle. Some of us, because I turned into a person that became the abuser. I've been on both sides because you're angry, you're bitter, your self esteem is low, you're easier to prey upon. So you need to love yourself, and you need to know that that person do not love you. It's not he loves me in his own little way. It is not love. They have some things to work out. It's not accept me for who I am or as I am, because I don't have to deal with your bitterness. I don't have to deal with your anger. I don't have to deal with your issues. You need to fix you. I need to work on me. And I'm not an advocate for telling people to leave people, but you need to leave. If you're in that situation, you may not make it past tonight. Some of you need to leave right now. Some of you may not make it past next week. We don't know when the last time is going to be the last everything. You need to leave. You need to love you. You need to love your children. If you need to make an escape route, then you need to do that. Call the number that's on the screen. Call a friend, call a family member, call 211, call the county building, call mental health, call a shelter. You
Yes.
need to go to a stranger, go slip a note to someone if you have to. You have to understand, we see these stories in these movies, they be real. Those are real escape routes. Inbox me, and I'll help you find some resources and we can disguise
Yes.
it. You do what you need to do. Hit a random stranger, hit as many strangers as you need to until someone decides to help you. But you need to get away. You need to get away for yourself, for your children. You need to get away. That's the most important message that I can give. Just because I'm lucky, because
Mm.
I'm blessed, because I got away don't mean the next person will get away. And if
Exactly.
had I stayed, because oh I don't have any money or I don't have this, I don't get away. I don't care if you got to sleep at the bus station for tonight. Get away and find a way. Find a way. I've been cussed out by the police before because I wouldn't press charges. Someone's called the police on him while I was pregnant, and they came and I refused to say anything and press charges. And they said, "Don't call us when you're dead." I said, "Well, bitch, I'm gonna be dead. How am I gonna call you?"
Yes, because
But they're telling me they're
of
gonna come
violence,
scoop
they
my
want to.
body up.
Yes, the victims of violence, they want to protect the abusers.
Yes. But we have to know that's not love. You're not loving yourself. You're not loving that person because you're telling that person it's okay. See, my kid's father still abusing women. He's still abusing women. He told me, "Oh, your friends is trying to get with me." I feel bad for her. If you want to cross me that way, baby, I don't know what to. I'm not gonna be mad. You gonna be mad.
Yes.
I don't advise nobody, no woman to be with my kid's father. But I mean, hey, the last girlfriend that I know about, I told her when he went to jail, she told me how he was abusing her, gave her a concussion. I said, "Baby, he's in jail. You need to get away." I love him.
Yes.
I'm a kid's father, but you need to
Yes.
get away. I
So,
will
Chrishanda,
never go back.
yes, never go back.
Never go back.
Never
Get
go back.
away. That
No.
that's all I can tell you is love yourself.
Don't
Get
let it
away.
history does repeat itself, but we have control over our history as well.
Yes.
So we we are prepared for them stumble blocks. So we
Yes.
have to be mindful and wise. And Chrishanda, may I ask you, how is the relationship with you and your children's father now?
When we talk, we're best friends. When we get along, we're best friends. Oh, there we go. I'm sorry. When we get along, we're best friends. We're best friends when we get along because see, I won't go back because he cannot abuse me. Since we've been separating, he's tried to threaten me. Oh, okay, you pick up something, I pick up something. Oh, okay, my brothers are right here. Oh, okay, my husband is the same kind of man you are, but he's not abusive. Well, when I still had the husband, but he's not abusive towards women. What do you want to do? You see what I'm saying? I will call 911 on you, and I don't believe in calling 911. If I have to do that to save everybody's lives, then that's what I'm gonna do. But you're not gonna put your hands on me. So he knows, and he know I hit hard because I done bust him in the nose a couple of times. So he already
Well,
knows I'm hard.
I'm sure a lot of that has changed, when once he realized, that, what for all abusers, when they realize that the victims have protectors, then the whole trajectory just changed.
It changes, but he also
Yes.
feels when they're not around, maybe he can get away with some things.
To a certain extent. So, everyone, I would like to
I'm
thank
sorry,
you
y'all.
all for
Somebody
being
got
a
a stir
part
phone.
of the Regina
Can
Queen Show, as
get
now we're having some
away.
technical difficulties right now. But
Okay.
you all know that we are here to break the silence against domestic violence. And domestic violence is happening every day, every minute, every hour of the day. So
Yes.
please do not wait until Domestic Violence Awareness Month comes up to advocate for victims, or to just even, spread awareness, spread it today and every day. Reach out, call a friend, call a loved one. If you know of anyone who is encountering domestic violence, call that person and just see if the person is okay, if that person needs help, if that person needs resources. Be a service to victims of violence. And as you know, that we all need someone in our times of life. If you're an advocate, and I'm sure you have a story, so please be the solution, and let's help. Let's reach out to our community, and be a part of our community to help prevent violence in our community. And I would like to thank you so much, Chrishanda, and just know that to you, your story may be ordinary, but to others, your story is extraordinary.
Thank you. I also want to say, do wellness checks, do interventions.
Thank you for that. Yes.
Yeah, do that
So,
because there was several times where I could have used some wellness checks.
yes,
I
yes.
could have used some
Thank you.
wellness checks.
Yes,
So
thank you for
do
that.
those. Do, like you said, be the solution. Do whatever you can to help. Um, and just know that if you're watching, you know somebody, help them. And some abusers, some those that are abused, they turn on you. I rather know that something is wrong and this is happening to you, and you turn on me
Yes.
from me helping you, than me to have to go to your funeral.
Patience.
Sometimes it's worth losing that person if you can save that person.
For a person who had encountered violence and so much trauma, we must learn to be patient with one another and still have love and compassion, with communication and understanding, and if you don't have that, just work on it, reach out, get some resources, get counseling. And because sometimes, as advocates, need help themselves as well.
Mhm.
And it's just when the more of us together, the stronger we are. And I tend to look forward to doing a lot of great things with you, Chrishanda, and as you coming aboard, doing a lot of great things with me, being a part of my Sisterhood Nation group, where we
Yes,
rock together, we heal together, we spread awareness together. And I know you would be there with me
yes,
on
ma'am.
journey to share this journey with me, and in honor of my children. And I'm going to be with you on your journey of your brand new journey of healing, and just being highly favored. I thank you so much,
Mhm.
Shonda. Again, I admire you. I tip my hat to you.
Thank you.
You are so resilient, and your resilience is just a message. What in your resilience will empower other women who are broken and are afraid to come out.
I mean, I try to live. I just do what I feel is right, and survive. Survival is the key, right? So
Yes,
now the mission is to help other people survive. I
yes,
Anyone I talk to, if I've been through what they've been through, I understand that God allowed me to go through that so I can help that person, so I can
yes,
guide that person. If no one went through it, if none of us went through it, who could we go to? So
yes,
now that we went through it, it's time to make the best out of the worst, because God will turn the worst into the best for us. You're going to make our enemy our footstools, and save other people and help other people. We're here to witness to one another. And I'm grateful for my domestic violence situation, for the things that me and my son went through the violence, for homelessness and everything that I've encountered, because that now allows me to help the next person.
yes,
The, so I'm very grateful that I can be here for others.
yes. Thank you, thank you. I'm so happy you're grateful, and I'm grateful to be here for others as well. And Krishanda, I usually do my live podcasts. I have a max time on
Hmm.
my podcasts now,
Hmm.
and I never wanted to go over. I used to go over, like I used to go up to an hour or go over an hour, and I said, well, and then sometimes I need to, send my videos to some of my guests who would like the video.
Hmm.
Sometimes if it's too long, it's hard for me to send it.
Hmm.
And so I said, well, I'm going to shorten it down, for situations like that, and just so we all can just go on about our day. But
Mhm.
you know what I would like to say to you? This live podcast today was very much needed for the max time that we went up to. It was very much needed, and I feel the Most High had orchestrated this to be done for someone to hear. Someone needed to hear your story today.
Mhm.
That's why I didn't. I just let it go and just let it go and just let it go because I can just feel someone's pain, and,
Mhm.
and that someone needed to hear your story, and your intentions is to save a life. And
Mhm.
you have told me, I want to share my story because
Mhm.
my story can save a life. I would love to share my story.
Yes,
And,
ma'am.
and yes, and that is your intentions. And I'm really so appreciative of what you have did here on the Regina Queen Show today with the inspiration, encouraging others to come out of domestic violence, not being afraid to share your story of your abuse.
Mhm.
Some women are afraid to say, hey, I got kicked, I got beat, I got called a bitch, or I'm getting choked, my kids is watching, and because they feel they're going to get judged, they feel they're going to be let down. And so you are just a queen, you're a strong queen, and
Thank you.
you keep striving, and I'm supporting you and all your endeavors, and
Thank you.
we're big supporters. And just thank you for sharing this story. And I would love for you to come back to empower our women who has been incarcerated as well.
Definitely.
Okay. And
Definitely.
thank you. Thank you everyone for being a part of the Regina Queen Show today, listening to Chrishanda Kimbrough share her story to empower victims to come out of violence, preventing violence. We thank you all, and you all have a beautiful, beautiful night.
Good night.